Hey everybody, Andy here. Your favorite career insiders here to bring you some inside scoop. Today we're going to be talking about employer ghosting, something that's reached epidemic levels. Not the only pandemic thing going around in the world these days, but I'm here to help you build a career you love every Thursday, or maybe you're watching this on a Tuesday. Welcome if you're here with me live. I see some folks already here. Carlos, Deb, Adam, Jamor, Taya, Forthesis, and everybody else from around the world. Great to have you. Got a good one in store for you today. Like I said, on employer ghosting. Maybe you've been ghosted, maybe you haven't, maybe you thought you were, maybe you weren't, maybe you didn't know you were. Whatever it was, I'm going to break it all down for you today. One thing I want to do, I want to start this out real fast. I want to engage you right away because I have thought of over a dozen, I think 14 or 15 scenarios in which you can get ghosted, and I'm going to break those down. But I would love for you to go in the chat right now. After you say your hello, can you please tell me in the chat, and I'll pull it up here in a few seconds. I know we're on a little bit of a delay. I'm going to go in and break down the talk for you today and tell you what's in store. While I'm doing that, can you go in the chat and tell me how you've been ghosted? I emailed a corporate recruiter. They emailed me, I emailed them back. I never heard from them. I had a phone screen with them. They never called me back. I was in an interview process. They never called me back. Whatever it is, I was talking to an executive recruiter who I seemed to really hit it off with and then never heard from her or him. So let me know, go in the chat, tell me what's what, and here's what's in store today. So I know this is becoming a real problem. I get a lot of questions about it. I kind of chuckle at the whole ghosting word, but I totally know what you mean, and it stinks. And it's really, it is frustrating, and I do think employers can do a lot better job, and even by their own admission through surveys we run and surveys I've seen, that they feel like they're not doing a great job communicating with you. Now, I have thought about different ways the corporate recruiters, executive recruiters, bosses you might have been engaged with, or HR people, how many different ways they can ghost you. And I'd like to tell you what I think is happening behind the scenes in each of these scenarios. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you my thoughts on it and what I think of it all. And then I'm going to tell you how to, I'm sure you're wondering, how can I prevent something like this from happening? And if it does happen to me, how should I react? What should I do? I'll break that all down. So let me see who's been in the chat telling me. I mean, how have we been ghosted? No responses from Boss Hunt. Recruiters are the worst. Let me see if I can pull some of these up. Please get in there and let me know, kind of where you are. I'm reading up. Recruiters are the worst. Hiring managers are much better and ghost much less. Let's see, no responses from Boss Hunting. Adam Stark said they wanted an interview and didn't get back to me. Let me see, what do we got here? I know I'm doing this real time. Isn't live TV fun? Who else has been ghosted? Well, hey ICM, how are you? Recruiters treat you like tissue paper. Avoiding at all costs. Come on, that's terrible. Jamor, my daughter works in HR. She said they are too busy to reply to the overwhelming amounts of apps. I'm going to give you a sneak peek into next week. I love that. Had a second round interview. Janky, I believe it went great. I follow up, thank you email, never heard back. I get why they ghost, but I don't think it's acceptable. That's true, because it just isn't. But D-City, primarily by recruiters. Okay, so you guys get this, right? So this stuff happens. So let me tell you what's what. All right, got my note cards today, and I had to put multiple things on each card. Otherwise, this stack of cards would have been about this thick, because we know that's how bad ghosting is. All right, so let's go through these, and I got one to start with, and because I like to be complete, right? The A.T.S is not a ghoster. It does not ghost. It's a stupid box and a machine. And if you put your resume in there and you don't hear anything back, they are not ghosting you. You have a very, very low likelihood of getting an interview if you go through the applicant trashing system, my endearing name for it. The applicant tracking system, which is what most employers call it. I call it the applicant trashing system. But when you go in there, you have a very, very low percentage. And to give you a statistical number, you probably have about, if you are in the kind of the lower to mid levels and you are putting your resume into the applicant tracking system, you probably have somewhere on the order of a 2 to 4% chance of being seen. That doesn't mean you're going to get an interview. So some small fraction thereof actually get an interview. So let's call it less than 1% actually filter through. If you're a more senior person, the percentage drops of you being seen. They don't usually farm those ATSs for very senior positions. Yes, it can happen. Of course it can happen. But the percentage is super low. So if you're putting your resume in the applicant trashing system and you're not getting seen, that's why. All right, now let's talk about, I thought about 7 different ways to give this talk. I'm gonna take you through the scenarios of what I think how you can be ghosted. I'm gonna tell you what's happening. Then I'm gonna tell you what I would do about these. So just to make it easy on me. All right, corporate recruiters. Now, here's the scenario. We're just talking about corporate recruiters. Someone who actually works for an employer, the company, they have the same business card, right? I work for company XYZ. We're hiring you for company XYZ. The corporate recruiter emails you, LinkedIn messages you, emails you directly, replies to your application, or whatever. Okay, this is the scenario. Okay, you get back to them. In the meantime, things happen. Even if you got back to them within 3 seconds, you don't know what has been going on up until the time they emailed you. So one of the scenarios is they got their pipeline full. Now what happens when I say pipeline full, I'm talking about candidate pipeline. I'm a recruiter. My boss Andy says, hey, would you go out and find me some salespeople? That's one of my hiring officials. I probably have a few others. I go out and I try to email people or call people who are salespeople. They get back to me. What happens is I'm working that and I'm trying to get candidates in over to the hiring official. And what happens is you got to remember, recruiters are doing this. Right? They got Andy yelling at them. Kara's probably hiring somebody for the ops team. Stacy wants somebody for the marketing team. They've got all of these different searches that they're doing internally. Once they get some motion on one, it drops to the bottom and then they wait to see how it plays out, and then they start focusing their attention on filling the pipeline for the other positions. So you don't know when you got emailed where they were in the process. Maybe somebody replied to them, they set an interview up, they had a phone screen earlier that day, they liked that person, they decided, hey, I got 3 people in the process, I'm gonna hold now, I'm not gonna get back to that nice person who I emailed who got back to me 5 minutes later. Okay, so that can happen. And then the second scenario is they either filled the position or it's close to being filled. I'm not going to burn a lot of time getting back to you. It would be nice for me to get back to you and say the position is about to be filled, but I don't want to do that because I don't want you to mentally check out. So they think maybe incorrectly that it's better not to say anything to you, see how it plays out, and then what a lot of them do is they completely ignore you, which is really dumb, because what I would do if I emailed you and you got back to me and I was filling the position or about to fill the position or fill the position, I would get back to you and I would say, thank you so much. I would love to I would love to connect with you, but at the moment we just filled that position and now I'm going to do one of a couple things. I'm going to think about, hey, can you fill any other positions? Or might we just stay connected? Let's get connected on LinkedIn or whatever, or I'll keep your credentials, but in some form or fashion, they should be communicating to you. So I'll try to sprinkle in some of my sentiment of what I think is reasonable for you to expect in situations. But remember, again, not everybody is a well-adjusted adult like you and I are, so not everybody processes the world the same way. Okay? And then the other thing is they might have found out that the position was on hold. This can happen. You get it. Andy goes back to them and says, hang on, we rearranged the budget. And so I want to push that position to next quarter. It can happen. All right, now how about this? You get into the screen process, or you've gotten screened. You're screened with the corporate recruiter, or you screened with the corporate recruiter, and you went on and got into the interview process, and all of a sudden it's dead silence. Now, I wanna differentiate ghosting, meaning I'm never gonna get back to you, versus hang on, I told you it's gonna be a week or so and I'm working the process and you're not paying attention, okay? But let's just say, sake of argument, that all these scenarios I'm talking about is they're never getting back to you, okay? You got in the interview process, you didn't pass. Or I got others and I still need to screen them, okay? So you're not officially ghosted yet. I just haven't gotten through the pack of people that I need to. Now, the best recruiters say, hey, Joe, this is great. I really enjoyed talking with you. I've got a number of interviews lined up over the next couple of weeks, or the boss wants me to talk to 10 people before I pick a couple. I want to let you know it's going to take me a couple weeks. If you make it through, I will circle back, or I will circle back no matter what. That's what they should be doing. That's not what they always do. Or they filled the position, or it got put on hold, or Andy's out on a long vacation. That's never gonna happen. I've never gone on any long vacations, but you know what I mean, right? So these are the kind of things that occur. Now, they should be in touch with you, but they don't always, but this is usually the high probability of what's actually happening. Now, I don't think a lot of these are blowing you away just yet. There's gonna be a lot of these that I think are fairly common sense, and you probably have guessed at some of these, but I think some of these might surprise you as we get into some of the other ones. All right, this one, I don't know what to say, but what the hell, right? If they actually give you an offer, they could ghost you after they give you an offer. This has happened. It doesn't happen a lot, but it can happen. All right, here's what's likely happening. They decided to put it on hold, and they were so terrible that they didn't get back to you to let you know. Or someone else took the job, and again, they were not nice human beings and didn't get back to you. Or there were extenuating circumstances, something happened. We had a situation where one of my boot campers, one of the folks, Keith, in my job search coaching program, he actually had a situation where, you know, they were trying to extend an offer, and then the hiring official left or something like that, and they're trying to figure out what to do, and this went on for several weeks. It went on for several weeks, and it was with a startup. And so this stuff can happen. They actually called him back. He actually got the job, which was really great, but still a rough go. But this does happen rarely. Now, that's mostly what happens internally with corporations. So, right, you didn't pass, or we decided to put the thing on hold, or there were some extenuating circumstances. Now, executive recruiters are a bit different. Now, I wanna start off with something that isn't even ghosting, but a lot of you complain about it. You say, well, hey, I reached out to this executive recruiter, and I know they're recruiting for these positions, or they recruit for these types of positions, or they're recruiting for this position at this company. I somehow found that out. And the executive recruiter is not getting back to me. I emailed them, but no response. How many people think this is a thing? Because I want to be really clear about executive recruiters. Just because they have the word recruiter in their name does not mean they find jobs for people. They don't do that. That's not their job. An executive recruiter, a true executive recruiter, is an independent individual or works for an independent third-party company that has been contracted by a company. They find people for jobs. The jobs they find them for are the ones they're under contract to pursue. Their priorities are built and designed based on the clients they have and the urgency of those positions the clients have. They are constantly being rearranged by the companies they're working on behalf of. If you are reaching into them, the chance that you are threading the needle, meaning you are exactly what they need at the time they need it, and you fit all the parameters, meaning you have all the right skills, the right comp, the right this or that, and you fit and you're culturally sound and all that other stuff, is almost nil. Okay, that's why contacting and chasing executive recruiters is one huge waste of time. It really is. This is not ghosting. This is just flat out not smart job searching on your part. Okay, so I want to be really clear. All right, now, what about when they email you. Okay, this Andy, nice executive recruiter guy looks like he's got it going on. He sent me an email, I replied, and I didn't hear back from him. So, number one, and likely the most, part A, the most likely scenario is that Andy guy never saw your background and somebody not named Andy, who's a researcher, sent you a message on LinkedIn. This is what happens. So a lot of times, somebody like me, although we don't do this, but there are people out there that are executive recruiters who have nice profiles, and they have a researcher using their LinkedIn account. They send you an email, and the researcher is doing a couple of things or is handicapped in a manner that the executive recruiter probably is not. My eye will be better at looking at profiles and detecting because I have a lot more years of wisdom, experience, trial and error, and I can probably tell your personality based on what you wrote on your LinkedIn profile and whether you're gonna fit. But the researcher doesn't have those years of experience, so the researcher is using a machine gun to reach out to anybody who has the keywords in their background. What happens is the executive recruiter says, yeah, you go ahead and you do that. The researcher goes out, they're contacting hundreds of people every day. Some of those people are getting back to them, and then the recruiter says, okay, who got back to you? Let me see their profiles, right? Because I don't want to have to look at all these profiles. I just want to look at the ones you think. Well, this person got back to me. No, not a fit. Forget that one. Okay, you will likely just get ghosted. Just because I never saw your background, some researcher sent you a message, you replied thinking you were replying to me. I then looked at your background. That could have happened. Or you got back to me through the researcher who's monitoring my LinkedIn account, and I'm working with my client, and the client says, Andy, that's not as important a search, or we're about to fill that, or whatever, we're gonna change it. I want you focusing your time over here. Okay, so that could happen too. So that can happen. Or I did actually send you the message, Andy did, but on second thought, when you got back to me and I took a closer look at your background, I decided you weren't a fit, and I'm an ignorant guy and didn't reply back and connect with you. Or I'm finding other people that got back to me in the meantime, just like a corporate recruiter. I filled my pipeline and now I'm on to another search, and I'm not getting back to all the people who got back to me. I'm not saying this is a good practice. I'm saying this is what they do, okay? Or the client held the position, D, client held, Andy, that's not as important. I need you to focus over on this. And even if you send me somebody, we're not gonna be able to interview them because all those people are out of town for 2 weeks at some conference. Okay, fine. Or I'm waiting to fill it, meaning, all right, I'm in motion, the researcher contacted you or I contacted you, you got back to me, and it doesn't matter how many candidates I have, the one I have that's in there is about to get an offer. I'm not about to spend a lot of time with people. I wanna see what happens here first. It's a cost benefit, it's a risk reward thing. How do I wanna break my time down? Okay, so that happens. They don't get back to you. Okay, it's not a great practice, but that's what's happening behind the scenes. How many of you know that? How many of you get that you're getting emails from people that aren't actually the people you're getting emails? Show me a hey, or was that surprising to you? Yeah, I'm surprised. No, that doesn't surprise me. Yes, I never thought of that, or whatever. But these are the kind of things that happen and you don't know why. You think, well, I just got back to him the next day. Right. The researcher was looking at your profile and the executive recruiter filtered you out based on what they thought. Okay? Or you and the executive recruiter spoke. You actually spoke. Okay? Now what happens? I decide you're not a fit, but I don't tell you. I filled my pipeline and I didn't tell you. Okay? Meaning, all right, you're a good guy or you're a good gal, but I got a couple others and I want to see how this works out. Or the client changed their mind and said, no, put that position on hold. Or again, I'm about to fill it. You get the idea. You get the idea. Okay, so you're talking about the researcher thing. That makes sense. I figured that. I knew this. You might have heard me say it before. Just learned, Elizabeth, great to hear you learned something new. That was news to me. I would imagine that it doesn't surprise a lot of you, but it's probably not what's going through your head, right? You're looking at, it's like, what do they call that thing? Catfishing or something like that. It's maybe not in such a negative, connotation, but it's something like that, right? All right, how about this? hey, you talk to the executive recruiter. The executive recruiter says, I'm going to present you to my client. All right, what can happen? Well, the client can say no, but the executive recruiter in all circumstances should get back to you and let you know. But they might not. They might get busy. They might not care. Or the client says, hold on, I'm not sure about that person. Just, either hang tight. And what the executive recruiter does not want to do when the client says this is they do not want to go back to you and say, hey, Harry, you know what? I talked to my client. They weren't 100% sure. What's going to be going through your mind if the recruiter says that? Now, I'm not saying that that's a good thing. I think that they should call you. I would always call somebody back and say, this was the feedback, and then I would try to get them to look at it on the bright side or hang tight or just say, hey, look, sometimes you can get better by just standing still. If I, as an executive recruiter, believed in you enough to present you to my client, you could be damn sure that I believe you fit the position. Okay? So I'm going to try to explain to you how I would look at it in the right light, meaning, hang on. As this search goes on, if they just want to push you to the side, you might start looking a lot better based on what? As time drags on, or some of these other people that I find that might not even have some of the goods you do. So this stuff can happen, but the executive recruiters are not communicating back to you and you think you got ghosted and they're not sure what to say. It's a sign of a poor recruiter, but it happens, right? So I'm just trying to explain to you what's going on. Or the client changed their mind. Now, that person, the executive recruiter, should get back to you no matter what. 100% of the time, when you hit this stage, the presentation stage of an executive recruiter's interaction with their client, they should get back to you. You should expect them to get back and communicate with you. All right, how about this? The executive recruiter presented you and you interviewed with their client and they ghosted you. The client either said no, wants to see more people, in which case they should still communicate, or they change their priorities. This stuff happens. And here to finalize the executive recruiters, maybe you worked with an executive recruiter before. If you worked with the executive recruiter before, maybe they even presented you, maybe you even interviewed with their client and you went through the process and maybe you even got a job with their client. But let's say you didn't. And you're trying to reach back to them, let's say a year later, 6 months later, 2 years later, and they never get back to you. What's happening is you got to go back to the first point I made about executive recruiters, is they work on behalf of companies. At this moment, you are likely not a fit for anything they currently have on their desk, and it's hard for them. You got to remember this. The longer an executive recruiter is in business, the more people they build relationships with, the more people they have calling them on a daily basis of people that they've actually worked with before to present to their clients. Well, the accumulation of all those people calling them each day when they don't have anything for those people now gets tough. I always replied to somebody who I worked with, I want to keep that relationship. And most of the time, I would hop on a 10-minute call with them because I want to see what they're doing and I want to do some networking, right? Kind of thing. So keep that in mind. All right. So far, so good. Jamor, I'm working on fixing all this. I really am. All right, you guys, are you guys enjoying this? If you're enjoying this, click the thumbs up button. Make sure you share it and make sure you subscribe to the station. So that's a little intermission break. Okay, now we got bosses. No ghosting talk would be complete without me talking about bosses for as much as I talk about boss hunting, right? So you're in Andy's community. You know Andy's favorite way to find your new job is through boss hunting. Let's talk about what happens when you're emailing bosses back and forth. All right, Andy, I emailed the boss. They didn't get back to me. All right, that's not really ghosting you, okay? So they never got it. This is the most common one here, B. B is the most common. You're targeting a boss and your skills do not fit what they need. Okay, so you have to thread the needle. Remember, boss hunting works when I need something and you have it. Okay, so I need salespeople and you're a salesperson, but I don't just need salespeople, I need technical salespeople. I don't just need technical salespeople. I need technical salespeople who actually know Salesforce automation. customer relationship management solutions or whatever, right? Kind of thing. And sometimes their scope of who they're willing to talk to becomes more and more narrow depending on other things too. They could be busy, right? They might not need somebody, although I would argue that salespeople value networking and sales managers value trading out their salespeople for better performers, because then they're going to perform better as a team and then they're going to get more money and it really works to their advantage. The other thing that occurs is D. They're checking with somebody else. So if you emailed me, so this would happen occasionally where I would run a practice in one of the organizations that I was in, and I would get emails directly sometimes, not often, but sometimes. And if I would look, I would always look at the resume. And then if I thought they would be a fit, what I would do is I wouldn't just forward it and say, hey, take a look. I might call Chris or Roger or whoever my, kind of my counterparts were, and I'd say, hey, I got this resume. What do you think? Because I would do that in the natural course of me getting together. Like, I wouldn't stop what I was doing to call them because I got some unsolicited resume. I knew that, in a week I was going to be on a status call with them, and I'd say, hey, you got 2 minutes after, let me run something by you or something like that. So they might be checking. All right, that's if you email them. Okay, now, what happens if you email them, they email back to you and then ghost you? Any number of things could have happened, but the two biggies is I got busy or I changed my mind. All right, now, I personally am a long-term thinker, and I would be thinking, okay, hang on. If I got busy, I'd probably let them know, hey, could we reconnect in 30 days, 2 months? This is going to look a lot better come April 1st. I got to get through Q1 or whatever. I probably would do that. Do not sweat this, okay? This is life, all right? And then I do want to just, I have a few comments in general about this and kind of a catch-all. And I want you guys to understand that there were a few other things that didn't fit neatly into the boxes. Number one, and you guys know this, they're just damn disorganized, right? So they're just darn disorganized. So the first thing is companies, corporate recruiters, HR people, I want you to pay attention to their behavior. Because remember this, when you get, and I'm talking about those of you that got into interview processes, okay? When you get in, and by the way, a phone screen with a recruiter is in the interview process, okay? I'm speaking to you, and anybody who's gotten past the recruiter or HR into interviewing with others. Remember this, they're speaking to you by their actions, and technically speaking, I would say greater than 95% of the time, the interviewing process is better than it ever will be working at the company, right? They're trying to put their best foot forward. They're trying to recruit you if they like you. If they're disorganized in the interviewing process, what do you think it's going to be like to work there? It's going to be a lot worse than you think. Okay, so now you need to start questioning, do I even want to work there? The next thing is, this is a big deal. This little point right here, number 2, that you probably don't understand what this says, is the position changed, that's delta ED, based on what they saw in the interviewing process, not solely related to you. Let me tell you what I mean. When you get into an interview, we're a productivity month. I've been teaching productivity all month. This is a great analogy. Whenever you put a plan together and you get into the process, once you take step 1, you should reevaluate your plan, not your goal, your plan, your steps to get there, how you might get there, because you know more than you did before you took the first step. And as you get into the process, you know a lot more, okay? Well, when recruiters and hiring officials and other interviewers are interviewing you for a position, they have a going-in position of what that person looks like and what the potential goals are that this person needs to meet, the responsibilities that it's going to take to meet the goals. But sometimes what happens is when you get into the interview process, you or somebody else could have changed who their target was. Sometimes it works in your favor. Sometimes it works to your detriment. I had a woman in my boot camp named Karen, who was the first person that this software as a services company interviewed, and she was likely a bit more senior than they were hoping for, and certainly financially, except that when she got in there, what do I always say to you? They couldn't unsee her, right? They had a whole new benchmark for what that position was looking like, except the other people that were entering in, and she was first, entering into the interview process that were wholly qualified, all of a sudden paled in comparison to what she could do. It works the other way. We thought we needed this. I do this a lot. I thought I needed this, but you know what? I could get away with that. I could get away with a lot less. And you know what? I actually don't want to pay what I intended to pay because I actually discovered going through this process, through interviewing and talking to people and maybe talking to other business owners, I might be able to do away with or get away with less. So they changed what they were thinking about or who they were targeting, and you got caught in it, and then they decided that for whatever reason, being a terrible company that they are, there's nothing wrong with changing your mind or changing your plan. That's okay. That's smart. But not calling you is terrible. But this happens. Okay? Then the budget changed. Okay. This budget. Continuing on with the Karen story. Karen made a lot more money than they intended to pay. She goes through this interview process, takes about 2 months. I coached her through it. Presentations, all kinds of stuff. They gave her an offer. We prepped her. I prepped her, said, you need to say this, you need to do this. You need to actually put your foot down and say, I want you to interview more people, kind of thing. We went through this whole thing. And when she made her counter and said, you got to come up with the 70K, and the recruiter who kept telling her, you make 70K more, or whatever it was, said, okay, hang on, we don't want to let you go. So they found the 70K. Well, where'd they get the 70K? They didn't have the 70K. No. They moved 2 positions that they thought they were going to hire in that quarter to the next quarter. So they took the money from 35K from one position, 35K from another, and they gave it to her, right? And they figured it out later. Well, that could happen. That could happen for you. That could happen, and you get, right? You could have been one of the people that they intended to hire, and they decided to put that on hold. Right, so it works many different ways. Now, none of this is excusing them from communicating this to you, except that this is what happens, okay? And then my last one, sick, vacation, they're focusing on their job or whatever, they got busy. This is all messy, okay? That in every situation, no matter what the reason is, they should be communicating with you. Okay, now, you're gonna ask me, or I'm assuming you're gonna ask me, all right, Andy, how do I prevent this from happening? When do I follow up if I can't prevent it? How many times do I follow up? And what do I say? Okay? And what do I always, this is backwards, okay? How do I prevent it? When do I follow up? How many times? And what do I say? All right, let's go through that. The Pre-Empt. Communication works. Communication up front. So if I'm going into an interviewing process, I don't care who it is, executive recruiter, corporate recruiter, hiring official, makes no HR person, makes no difference. What do I always tell you? Communicate, be effusive, tell them what you have going on. I'm interviewing with such and such. You're the only people I'm interviewing with. If I start interviewing with somebody else, I'll let you know. In the meantime, can you communicate with me? Who's been through the process? Where are you with other candidates? What does your candidate pipeline look like? I'm a big boy, I'm a big girl. I just want to make sure we're not wasting each other's time. I think we'll all be better served if we're just communicating. I don't mind. If you need to slow it down, you need to speed it up, you let me know. I'll keep you updated on my end. Can you please, just by saying this, you might be like, oh my God, what? This is not hard. Just say it. And just by you saying it, they will know that you're a well-adjusted adult and you could handle it, and they will keep you informed. Better than 50-50 chance of that, just by you communicating with them and letting them know that you're okay no matter what happens. I know you need to do what's best for your company. I hope you respect I need to do what's best for me. If anything happens on my end, I'll let you know. I'd appreciate the same from you, right? Quid pro quo, however you want to size it up. This works it really works. Trust me. I'm going to be more apt to want to reach out to you if I know I can be straight with you. Okay? So that's the first thing. Now, when to follow up. I can't tell you when to follow up exactly, but I'm going to give you the default and I'm going to tell you what to do in order to know when. Now, first thing is, you don't know if they're ghosting you. You don't know if they missed their deadline. You don't know what's going on unless you're communicating and unless what? You ask the questions. So the first thing to do, I don't care if it's, a screen with the recruiter, if it's a first interview with the hiring official. Okay, this is great. What's the next step? Who's going to contact me, and by when are they going to contact me? Why do you need to know this? I don't know when I need to follow up with you. I don't know if you blew a deadline unless I know when you expected to contact me. Andy, I've got, you're first or you're second. I've got 5 more people I need to interview over the next 2 weeks. As soon as I have that done, couple weeks, I'll contact you. Great. What does that mean? You want to adjust you want to calibrate, point 2, you go from there. So if I said 2 weeks, you want to factor in when to contact them based on the variance of how long it was. So what do I mean? If I say 2 weeks, what can happen? A lot can go wrong in 2 weeks, right? I might not have been able to line up everybody. Somebody's schedule might have got moved. The hiring official might have been called away to go out of town on an emergency or whatever, right? Okay, give them a week, 3 weeks, and Friday the following week you contact. If I say, I'm going to call you by the end of the week, it's Monday, I'm going to call you by Friday, okay, that's a 4-day window, right? It's Monday, 4 days, they didn't call you. You don't call them Monday morning, you give them a couple days, say Wednesday. If I say, I'm going to call you tomorrow, and I miss it, by the end of the next day, you can email me. Why? I missed it. That's 100% grace, right? So you have to know this in order to know what's happening. I had somebody on my YouTube channel earlier in the week say, Andy, I had an interview yesterday, like morning. I emailed everybody after the interview. I haven't heard from them. Should I email again today? Like less than 24 hours, you'd already sent a thank you. No, just let it go. You say, well, Andy, hang on, I just had an interview and I didn't ask that. Give them like 7 days or 10 days and then check in. Okay, but let's slide right into the next point because actually the next 2 points. If you don't know, check in a week or 10 days, and I'll tell you what to say in a second. But I want to tell you how many times I would follow up. Okay, I put as many languages as I could fit on this card. 1 time. Uno, Spanish and Italian. Unis. I even put it in Swahili. Moha. 1 time. 1 time. No amount of you following up again and again and again is going to change the outcome, and no amount of you worrying is ever going to change any outcome in your life. Follow up with them and let it go. Okay, they'll get back to you when they get back to you, or they won't. But you continuing to follow up isn't going to change anything. It's going to make you look desperate, and you don't want to look desperate. You want to look sturdy, like the well-adjusted human being I know you are. Let the grip loosen up a little. 1 time. 1 time. 1 time. I'm going to make a coffee mug with this on it, I'm pretty sure. Okay? 1 time. 2 times is 1 too many. You don't need to follow up 2 times, but let me help you with what I would say in the 1 time you follow up. That was great. I'm interested. I'm interested. You see this blue button, call to action? Every time you are in a situation where you are sending an employer something, the best way for you to get a response is to ask them for something to respond to. Okay? So what do I mean? Well, when you verbally say, Andy, this is great, who's going to contact me by when, what's next, and all that stuff, that's a call to action right there. Now you know. But let's say, well, Andy, I didn't ask him that. I just sent the thank you template like you showed me to. So, okay, fine, right? You went to the interview. I would advise you initially to go kick the butt in the interview. While you're in the interview, you ask the person those questions, those 3 questions. If the person shut the phone, shut the camera, hung up on you, walked out, raced out, said, I just work here, I don't know. When you send the recruiter a message that says, hey, I had a great time meeting Susie, I'd love to know what would be the next step, by when, and so on and so forth. That's a call to action. Okay, now you're gonna say, well, Andy, hang on. I sent the thank you email and I sent it the next day and it's been a week and I haven't heard. What can I do? Okay, now, since I wasn't screaming at you yesterday about the one time I want you to follow up, I'm gonna give you all a grace one, okay? If you followed up with the thank you template and you still haven't heard from them and you're in the interview process, and 7 to 10 days goes by and you don't know how long you're waiting, you can send them a message and say, hey, I thought I would reach in. Had a great session with such and such. It's been 10 days. I want to let you know I'm greatly interested in and wanted to know if you know what the next steps are. Stop. Then, if you don't know what the next steps are, or if you don't know when that'll look, by when do you think you'll know that? Or by when can we reconnect? Or something that requires them to respond. So to an email like that, I would respond to you and say, you know what, Tommy, I'm actually not sure. I'm waiting on, Andy's traveling right now. But I would say, because I don't want to keep going back and forth, Andy's going to be back Thursday. I'm sure he's going to be busy. I will check with him Monday latest. So if you haven't heard from me by Tuesday, hang tight, or you can check in, but I'm going to tell you I haven't talked to him, right, kind of thing. So you have got to prompt them with a call to action that says, by when? What's next? Or something that they need to, if you don't know when, give me a guess. Call to action, okay? All right, and then you're going to say, well, Andy, but I'm so bummed. I'm going to say, who cares about them? They don't deserve you. I need you to tattoo this on your body. Who cares? I know, Andy, but I need a job. You don't need that job. You'll be miserable and you'll have to keep showing up to live office hours every week because you hate your job, right? Just think about this. And what else would I always recommend that you do? Feed the damn funnel. This is why, no matter what you have going, if you are actively job searching, meaning I'm not talking about you got a great job and you're kicking tires with a company. I'm talking about, Andy, I am in like all out Andy level job searching. And you guys know, if you don't know, I'm not going to go into all this. This is now on coffee mugs. It is. And there's even a thing on the back of it that says feed the funnel and what an Andyism is in the definition and everything. But you can have this sit on your desk and look at it and think of me every time that I pull this up, because I wrote this thing out in like December of 2020 and I use it like at every live show I possibly can, because this is the reason why your search takes as long as it does. And it is in alignment with ghosting. When you have a lot of what I call biddas, balls in the air, you're not going to care. You're not going to be agonizing over the fact that they said they were going to get back to you Tuesday and it's now Thursday and you're freaked out. All right? Now, I promised myself I would get this in under 45 minutes. I'm 43 minutes in, so I'm not going to recap all that, but I will say, if you're here with me live, we're going to go to the chat right now. If you're watching this on the recording, I'll see you next week, but please, while you're here, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Click the like button if you enjoyed this. Share it. There's a lot of people that need help with their job search, and I value you all in my community, so you know I love you all. I'll see you next week. All right, now, let's go to actually some quick announcements, because I have a few. Beth is here. Oh, my Beth Travert. How you doing? Geraldine, nice to see you. Denisha, Todd, Alicia, Elizabeth, Taya. I'm reading up my chat. Geraldine, though ghosting is a real thing, I think moving on and forward is much more powerful. It is. Complaining about it and trying to understand why me isn't getting me anywhere. It is not. Action next. Do it and go. Do it and forget about it. All right. So, wait, couple things really fast. I'm going to just buzz through these. My Team Apollo members, we're on tomorrow, 1 o'clock. I'm teaching you how to develop a business case. You're getting the workbook full on. You're getting a presentation template of what the business case should look like. I'm giving you a PDF, the PowerPoint, and the Illustrator file in case you want to change any of my sexy icons and things that tell me I don't love you, that we built for you. Anybody who's in the leadership coaching program that wants to convert over to the Apollo team, we're sending you one message today and that's it. There's not going to be any other reminders, so you got to get in before 1 o'clock tomorrow. On Monday, productivity session is about running a project. If you don't know what I'm talking about, for 3 straight Mondays and 2 more, I've been teaching productivity every Monday. I taught you how to develop and master lists, including a master list and all the other lists you need in your life. I taught you how to plan your weeks and days. Those are available, no waiting. I also talked to you about how to run your day, all no waiting. And Monday, how to run projects. And then we're following it up the following Monday with a bunch of energy stuff, which is going to be totally cool. Okay, next week, I decided that it's time for another prediction session. I've been looking at the graphs. I've been looking at the charts. I have a pretty good handle on what's going to happen in the employment market in the next 12 months. I'm going to tell you why I think what I think, what sectors are going to get, boom. And I'm going to take you through everything. I'm going to give you Econ 101. I think you're going to really enjoy it. I'm going to try to do that next Thursday. And then the following Thursday, I'm with people in my job search coaching program. For any of my boot campers here, I got so many messages from you guys at what we did last time with the hot seating and the resume stuff. I think we're going to do more of that this time, and a few other. I'm really excited about that. That's April 7th. If you guys want to get in, the program is not on special right now, but email support and ask Kara. And the other thing is, I've got my podcast is back in full swing. Every imaginable podcast platform has it. On Tuesday, it's multicast with YouTube, so it's a careers-related talk. And then on Fridays, it's a leadership and high performance talk. So it's right as rain, 7 a.m., Tuesdays and Fridays, on any platform you want, anywhere. Apple, Google, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify, Stitcher, Player FM, Pod this, Pod that. It's all there. So I hope you guys enjoy that. All right, Kara, let me see. Hang on, I see some slacks, and I'm gonna go to the chat here. All right, Atuga, my boot camper from the big state of Texas, applied to a company and waited 3 weeks, no response. Followed up with the boss yesterday. Is there more actions I should be taking? No. I would move on. First off, applying to the company, the clock didn't even start. You emailed the boss. If you want to send one follow-up to the boss, that's all I would do. Again. I cannot impress this upon you enough. One and done. If you emailed the boss and you want to send that boss in 10 days a LinkedIn in-mail message, direct, not a connection request, an in-mail message, that's fine. And then move on. Fairmars, my other boot camper, I applied for an open position, emailed the manager. He sent me to agency. The agency emailed me saying they are reviewing candidates. Do you think this puts me at a disadvantage? No. When you say he emailed you to agency, so folks, and I don't know what kind of agency this is. This is not terrible. By the way, Fairmars, and anybody who gets this situation, let's say you email me. I coached a woman a couple of weeks ago, fantastic background in functional medicine, and she emailed the CEO of a company, a pharma company. The CEO, in about 10 days, 2 weeks maybe, something like that, I can't remember, she's here, she could tell me, got back to her and said, hey, I think it's Russell Reynolds. I think it was Russell Reynolds, is handling the search. I'm putting you in touch with Kate from, or Lisa, I can mix the names up, but whatever, from Russell Reynolds. And then that woman got in touch with her and they set up a call. And that's what I was prepping her for. And so that's okay, because what the boss is doing, or whoever it is, they have the good thing about this is they want everybody to go through a uniform process. I'm paying an agency to handle this. So I want the agency to question each person similarly. I want everybody to go through the same protocols, and I want them to, I want them to evaluate you against the other people that they're evaluating. That's all good. Thank the person. That's it. And then wait for the agency to contact you. It's not a disadvantage. It isn't. MD, I don't know who that is, but that's a boot camper. Any advice to prepare for interviews with recruiters? Second round with an external recruiter tomorrow. Tuesday, have a pre-screen with an internal talent specialist for a VP role. Okay, so first off, I don't know if you mean there's an external recruiter. Second round, you shouldn't need a ton of rounds with an exec. 2 is okay. And that's going to be probably more. So when just to give you an idea, when I interviewed people, or Kara was recruiting somebody and she was passing them to me, or I had the first session and then did a second, we always had a minimum of 2, most of the times 3 interviews with a candidate before we would make a presentation. The first session was an hour. The hour was based on what do you want? What are your requirements? What are you looking for? I'm looking to see if, based on what you want, this client of mine in the position is a good fit. The next round was about evaluating your skills. So you don't need to prepare any differently. So you don't need to prepare, MD, you don't need to prepare any differently than I would teach you for any interview. Okay, and assuming it's skills related, and I'm assuming that then what you would do, and then Tuesday, meaning, so it's tomorrow's Friday, and then Tuesday, you got a pre-screen with an internal HR talent specialist. That's normal. That is a normal process. Normal is, I'm an executive search firm, assuming that you mean this is for that position. I'm an executive search firm, and I'm presenting MD to my client. If presented and the HR person already said, okay, MD's a go, then either the executive recruiter would have them go to the frontline person, maybe that's a recruiter, maybe that's an HR specialist, maybe that's the VP of HR or whoever, or sometimes, depending on who the firm is and what their recruitment process is, you might go right to the hiring official. So none of that is out of the ordinary. Now, what you should have, if tomorrow is an interview, like interview with the executive recruiter, you should have another session with the executive recruiter on Monday to prepare for the HR specialist or whoever you're going to be talking to on the first interview. Hope that gets your mind wrapped around it clearly. Joshua, my boot camper, just stopping by to say hi. The job I got with the help of the program is still going well. Currently trying to write a job description for my first promotion. I love it. I don't know if you're in the leadership program, but if you are, you can go and get that thing. I'll teach you how to do that. All right. Janky, last Monday I got an email considering you for a formal offer. Awesome. I thanked them and showed my desire to talk regarding the entire package. No response. I follow up after a week. Still waiting. What to do now? Hang on. I'm not sure what your nationality is or what language we need to speak. But I kid you not. I think I got Greek and Norwegian in there too. Maybe there's, I don't know if it's Arabic or whatever, but one time, you did it, you're all done. You wait. Honest to God. Remember, they're sending you a message. Meaning, even if they come back and they say, hey, sorry, we were all disorganized and I was waiting on this and that, that's still awful, okay? Because I should be communicating with you saying, hang on, somebody's out of town. Hang on, so-and-so's out sick. Hang on, I need to get a formal approval for, and this is normal for us. Okay, fine, maybe you just have a lot of red tape. But remember this. Remember this. In the absence of information, we always draw our own conclusions, and 99% of the time, They're negative, right? Because your mind is racing. What's wrong with me? Why aren't they getting back? Oh my God, the house is gonna fall down. Right, that's what we do. Which is, for all of you in a hiring capacity, one of the greatest reasons why you need to be communicating with the people who are in your recruitment pipeline and making sure that they understand what's happening so that they don't have to do this. Janky, that's not, you know what I mean. Come on, man. All right, Vicky. Hi, Vicky. Yes, Vicky, I hope to see you at Team Apollo session tomorrow. Info interview next week with Senior VP at Corporate Finance in a different industry. How to best inquire about their challenges. That I am an application. Okay, Vicky, I gave you every single thing you need for these informational interviews. You say also, I'm not comfortable with the networking topic. Is it okay to defer to the next chat? You could pick and choose. Here, do me this favor, because this is you. I mean, because I know you have this. In the boot camp, go into the interviewing module. Go to the session that says informational interviewing. In there, I break down informational interviews. I tell you exactly how to control the agenda, what the agenda is, what the agenda should be. If there's some things on there that you don't want to do, that's fine. I tell you what to say, what not to say. Then I tell you what to write up after you're done. So when you get out of that session, I literally give you the scripts. It's because it's not like a thank you email. It's completely different. So just go there, make sure to watch that. I cannot give you any better advice than that, and I know you have access to that. So I would definitely do that. And it's okay if you're changing careers. Okay, so it's still the formula will still work. Wayne's email. Got a response from hiring manager on LinkedIn saying HR will set up time. Had a screen, nothing from HR despite reaching out at any point, good to reach out again. I would say if you got a response from the hiring manager saying HR will set up a time, what I would do in this situation is, nothing from HR. I don't know how long this has been, okay? I'd wait 2 full weeks. I'd email the hiring official and I would say, thank you so much. Just wanted to follow up and say thank you. When I hear from HR, if anything comes of it, I will get back to you. Have a nice life. Right, that's code for they didn't reach out to me. Is it, and then what's going to happen? The hiring official's either going to nudge them or not. Why is my way better? When I hear from them, it's all positive, I will let you know. There's not a negative remark in there, right? So the rhetoric matters. That's what I would do. 1 time, 2 weeks. Paul, what is the best way to leverage in the job search process the fact my current employer is laying me off but wants to keep me around for months to train and work with the new team taking over? So, I don't love that you're getting laid off. Paul, this is the easiest explanation. There was a layoff. My company, you need to be specific. My company laid off 2,000 people. My company laid off 25 people. My company laid off the entire department, which was 25 people. My company laid off the entire department, which was 5 people. It makes no, be specific. The only thing you don't want to say is, I was the only one let go. Okay? So, that's code for, it's not your fault. Further enhanced by, and they wanted me to stay around for X, and I wanted to go out with some class. I really loved working at my employer. It's unfortunate that they had to lay me off. I completely understand why they needed to do this from a business perspective, and I was happy to help transition and knowledge transfer this area to the people that they're outsourcing it to or whatever. You talk like that, you can come work with me anytime. Okay? Believe me, that is gold. I know, I'm not happy you got let go, but you have a great story to tell. That all says it says it all right there, and you're done in 40 seconds. And I mean that. That's how fast it should be said, and it should be done and done. You guys have no idea how much willpower it's taking me right now to sit here and not get up from this chair and go to my front door because the mail guy just dropped off my mug my mug that has this on that I ordered on March 7th, that they told me was gonna be here March 10th, and it's March 24th, and it just came, and I knew it was gonna come during the show. I'm so mad. See, you guys, this is a little behind the scenes stuff. It's killing me. Because I know that mug is gonna look cool. Carlos, how much notice should I give? I'd like to give more, but it's looking unlikely due to work visa applications. Hence, I can't give more notice as until that this is not concrete. Carlos, I gave a whole resignation talk. I can't remember what the date is. I think we're cutting the short clip out on Tuesday. Go to the videos on my YouTube channel, find the resignation one, and I break this all down for you of exactly how to do that. And I would give 2 weeks. I don't know. Like, I'm working with somebody in Germany right now. We had a session 2 weeks ago. She had to resign, give 3 months to her international company so she can, and then work the dates with her new company. Okay, wait, you want me to go get the mugs? All right, hold on, hang tight. Okay, all right, here we go. What do we think? Okay, what's this one? Feed the funnel. Okay, everything is black and red. And then I had the little Andyisms on here. These are kind of cool. Wait, can you see that? So feed the funnel, right? Is that cool? Right? You guys ever want to feed the funnel? And for my people in my productivity course, I got this one. This one is, I do minimum viable products. So how about that? Hey, can you see that? I know it's kind of like perfect is in the thing, right? I do MVPs. And then this one, I'm sure that other package is for my wife because she is like an ordering machine. And then this one, live office hours. Okay, have fun, right? Did you guys want these mugs? It's like, they don't cost a lot of money. Should we, right? Okay, wait. Feed. Let's get you in focus. Hang on. Let's get you in focus. Can you get that? Shoot. Damn camera. It's like, hang on. How that? Is it? No, damn it. It's so, come on, man. You know, I got one of these fancy cameras and it should, there we go. No, I can't get it. Damn. But wait, but you got it. We had it there once, right? So, hang on. These silly things. I need that mug. Allie Marie, we're going to have some gifts and giveaways. Other swag. All right, come on. Unbox it. Let's get this out the way. Man, you guys are awesome for letting me get that. You have no idea. I was emailing them, complaining. I'm like, I paid for all the expedited shipping and I paid like 4 times what I needed to. Oh. All right. Let's see. Deb Olson, 30-minute phone screen 3 weeks ago. 45-minute video interview with 2 hiring managers 2 weeks ago. Okay, so far so good. HR at conference till last Friday. Okay. Call from hiring manager Friday. Next steps were offer and then not heard. Love the content and love the interview guideline. But okay. So far, this is not terrible, right? Because so here's what I do. When they say, you know, you got a call from the hiring official, that's 6 days ago, if I understand. And the next steps were the offer. You're like, okay, knee goes up, right? They tap you on the knee, your foot goes up. Should be, okay, I know sometimes these things can take some time. What's the usual, right, lag time on that? When should we reconvene? You know, when do you think? And that's it. And what I would do is for you, because it's an offer stage, I would email the hiring official like noon tomorrow, okay? Meaning, just want to check in, before the weekend and see if you have any, updates. I understand these things take time. I'm excited to join your team. When might we connect? All right. And then let's see, Adam, what do we got here? Adam Stark. If a company has an event department, I target the head of events, event director. That's a good idea, but not every company is clear cut. What senior titles should I, when I boss hunt, does this change with company size? So here's what I do. Events are likely to be in the marketing department, and there usually is somebody who is in charge of events. Now, they might have a title, event manager, right? Like you might see it. But generally speaking, in a small to mid-sized company, depending on the size of the marketing team, I would see the VP of marketing or director of marketing or chief marketing officer. Those are all good. And then look to see how many marketing people. So if Adam, I know I'm going to company XYZ. Search on company XYZ and the marketing department. See how many people are in there. Look at it. Does somebody have events manager on their title? If not, go to the director, go to the marketing manager, go to whatever. Say, hey, I thought you might be in charge of this area. That's okay, but that's a great one. Now, I would always go to the marketing department if they didn't, if I couldn't clear cut find something. If you're not sure if they have a marketing department, I would go to the facilities department. Now, the facilities is kind of a catch-all, or facilities and admin. The other option, this is really weird, is the CFOs might actually have that. It's a lot of times companies will have strategic CFOs that are in charge of all the administration. Or you can look at sales. Maybe there's a sales and marketing executive. So it's not clear cut in every case, but that's kind of how I think. All right, Kara, for thesis, I got no response at all on email. Should I reach out to the bosses on LinkedIn? You can. In mail, not connection request. Like sending them a connection request. No. 100% of the time, I will tell you never to connect with somebody at a company without their permission. And let me take you one step further. If you are in an interviewing process, do not connect with anybody ever during the interview process. Ever. Don't ask, don't do it. Wait until you're done. Either you got hired or you didn't. And if you didn't get hired, it's an excuse to contact everybody, send them direct messages and say, I really enjoyed meeting you. I was disappointed I didn't have a chance to join your team. I'd love to stay connected with you. Would you be open to connecting and sharing our networks? And so on. Of course I would. No problem. And then you connect. And then I know you said you can't afford the premium, and I wonder if it's appropriate. It's not. It's really not. But if you absolutely want to, go ahead. I just don't recommend it. I really don't. Steve F., this is helpful. It's easy to get discouraged if you don't. It's true. This is not your fault. Their disorganization has nothing to do with you. And even if you go in and you have a bad interview, every single candidate that I had that ever had a bad interview, I treated the same from a communication standpoint. Really, this is not, you shouldn't feel badly. It's just they're a bad company. They're bad communicators. My comma 2009, employer wants to have meeting about the offer. Is this normal? Yes, I love it. In past, I always had a verbal offer followed by a written. It's okay to have a meeting. In fact, it's better to have a meeting. So go get them. Richard K., What if an executive recruiter, but an executive themselves, great interview, said the next week to have a meeting with another stakeholder, but ghosts? What if this isn't an executive recruiter, but an executive himself? The executive himself is just the boss or whoever. Same kind of thing. What's next? They said next is to have a meeting with another stakeholder. By when? Who will get in touch with me? By when will they get in touch with me? You got to ask those things. And then again, if you sent a thank you email and that was done, I would wait for them to get back to you, and I would not contact them again. I really would not. How are we doing on time? Rolling pretty good. Rico Ender, what about accepting an offer that I turned down? I turned down one recently and it fit my skills and work experience, and I was offered a substantially higher wage than my previous position. I turned it down because I had accepted an offer with another place, but that fell through. Okay. I hate this. Okay, I'm gonna give it to you straight, right? Because you deserve it. Meaning you deserve it for me to be honest. And if I'm the company you rejected, I would be all over you about why that fell through, this and that. I would not be loving it. And I would start bringing everything you did in the interview process in question, and I would start evaluating, did I really want to give you the offer? How do I feel about you turning down the offer? If you said to me, I would ask you why the offer fell through. You would have to answer every question. It would not be pleasant. But if you really want to work there, the best thing to do is fall on the sword and say, it was close. I wanted to accept yours, but I chose this because it was a lot more money, and I just want to know if there's any possibility you'd reconsider and let me work there, and I'd be happy to explain whatever. I mean, that is really sticky, really sticky. Jamor, should we accept an offer fast before they move on to somebody else? Remember this. If I extend an offer to you, by its very nature, I am saying I want you to work here. And it isn't about the acceptance of the offer quickly that concerns me. It can take however long it can take. Now, it shouldn't take a very long time, especially if you don't have a very complicated situation, meaning financial package. The thing I want to forewarn you about isn't the length of time it takes you to secure the offer, because as long as the dialogue is going back and forth and there's an ebb and flow to the interaction, all good. Take a week, fine. Takes 2 days, fine. Takes 2 weeks, fine. What you don't want to do is once you sign, the further away your start date is from today, the greater the likelihood you don't show up for a lot of reasons. And let's not even go into all that. I went into all that in the resignation one. Jamor, watch the resignation video or the resignation live office hours that I did. You don't have to watch the whole hour and a half. It's like the first half hour or something. I got a big heart from Kara here, which is normal protocol. That means I'm about to read something really good. And this one's from Allie Marie, and that means I'm about to read something really good. After 13 months of madness, I had 2 offers on the table and accepted the one for me yesterday. You have no idea how happy I am for you. I know how hard you worked. I know you had parameters. I know you had specifics and wanting to work a certain way in a certain location and all that stuff. I'm so proud of you. I really am. Can we give Allie Marie, one of my boot camp lawyers, a huge high 10? She's really worked it. I mean, you know what? And I'm so proud that you stuck to your guns. And you didn't give in. You didn't give in. You put up with a lot of bunk, and you hung tight. And I'm hoping that you got what you wanted and everything you felt that you were worth. And I just can't be happier for you. I appreciate you a lot, and I'm glad. I'm so glad. I hope everybody cheers her on and gives her a high 10. I really am. That's really awesome. Sue, Andy, do recruiting systems track interactions with candidates? Damn right they do. A LinkedIn company recruiter messaged the team, wanted to talk to me. It fit all the parameters, then delayed, asked me not to apply. Then 5 minutes after we spoke, said I was not a fit. I then got a reject even though I did not apply. So I'll tell you what happened. Does LinkedIn track ghost applications? It's my top target company. It's a great match in multiple areas, so I'm careful to apply there. Okay, here's what happens. Most of the tracking systems work this way. You go in, you put your resume in, and it can sit there, and I can have an alerts and a dashboard and whatever, and then I go and I can look at whoever, whoever meets certain, levels of criteria that I've set. We had a system at MileWalk where it would also shoot me an email that you had applied for something, and then there was an attachment, and I could just open the attachment, quickly glance at the resume through my emails, which was really good. I love that. So I didn't have to go in the system. But all of our communications, even though it was going through Outlook or whatever, was integrated into our system. Now, it's been a while since we used a system this way, but most of them do that. So all the back and forth that you're doing is going into the system. Now, you said they asked you not to apply, except that I could, if you email me your resume, okay? If you email me your resume, I could take that resume and slide it into the system, and the system grabs it and could make an application for you. But I would not be concerned, because if you might not be qualified for that particular position, I wouldn't even make anything of it, and I would not be going and applying for jobs at that company, Sue. I would be targeting bosses, and I would be sending them my messages directly. And they're not going to care about what's in the applicant tracking system. They won't. So I hope that helps. Hope you get that. Alexander M. Bauer got an offer. Points to clarify and to negotiate. Expected to have a talk with them as they seem to really want me. No answer to that by the company. Communication dead. Weird. Any idea what to do? I would do nothing. I'm not being funny. Like, I would just do nothing. I wouldn't even know what to say. Hey, I would send him a message and say, hey, I'm still interested. If there was anything you'd like to discuss, please let me know. That's it. Lena Diaz, my boot camper, how you doing? Let's see, what do we got? Got call from recruiter offering me a position. I got an interview with her manager. She said that she would interview some people before presenting the shortlist to the client. She called me and said that she had already presented me to their client. He wanted, okay, so wait, so let me pause right there. If you are interviewing with a recruiter, and I don't know what this relationship is, if this is an external recruiter, then their client, they should not present you unless you gave permission, and you might have already done that. You might have said, hey, if you think I'm a good fit, then present me. That's cool. But if it's an external recruiter, they shouldn't be doing that unless you give them express permission. All right. He wanted to know me because he likes my experience, but his only concern was that I don't have experience working in Spain. She first said that she wanted the meeting this week, then called me and said it would be next week, and I have heard nothing about it. Should I call her again? I would not. What I would do is I would not do anything. And next Friday, right? Because today, it's Thursday. They could call you tomorrow. They could email you over the weekend. They could contact you Monday. Right? I'd wait the week out, and then I'd just check in, and that's it. And then Kara is going to be sending me. I want to look at the chat. How are we doing? Did everybody give Allie Marie, my beloved Allie Marie, and now she's a lawyer. Let's not hold that against her. A big high 10. She's awesome, and I love it. Is patience. Let's see. Atunga, the bit of mindset, something I will apply. Yes. Deb, how are ya? Jamor, I'm just Christy Elert, how are you? Baby girl Cherry, what's up? NBA. Cecilia, how do? Oh, you got Pamela Moore. What's the best way to find a good recruiter? Don't. Seriously, don't. All right, wait, Kara's sending me more. Now get me that funnel mug because I may need it in 1 to 2 years. What you need, Allie Marie, don't make me shame you into getting into my leadership program. And you know, we still have the boot camper discount. If you want to try it out for a month, you should get in if you're not already, or really be smart and take advantage of the annual package. Or what I really would love is if you got on Team Apollo and went all in. Okay. Oladapo. Hi, Andy. Oladapo from Nigeria. Awesome. Awesome session so far. Great insight. I have never been contacted by a recruiter. Need help. Your job searching, my friend, is outreach. Don't wait for them to contact you. You gotta reach out to them. However, let me point you to a video about how to get noticed on LinkedIn. That will help. Check that out. It's a really good one. Very detailed. It was a few years ago, but it totally applies. Taj Smith did an internal interview for a senior role. Awesome. Was informed I would be contacted in 2 weeks' time. I was not. I sent a follow-up email. I sent a follow-up email, and up to 4 days after I've not received a response. Is this bad? I don't know. I don't know what their situation is. I don't know how many people they're interviewing. I'd go back to what I said. Who's going to contact me? By when? What's the next step? Who's going to contact me and by when? It is a little odd that it's an internal role and they're not giving you some communication. Part of me says walk to the department and ask them, or something like that, but I don't know how big the company is, so I don't know. I don't love when they don't communicate. I really don't. I'm a proactive guy. I would tell you right out. You wouldn't even have to ask me that. Say, here's what's next. My comma 2009. Employer wants to have a meeting. Oh, wait, I saw that. That is normal. Ian, my boot camper, I'm confused. So if you were let go and you weren't part of a group layoff, you should say, okay, well, hold on. You should say you understand why the business, no, hold on. I was speaking to that individual who was part of a layoff, which is different than being surgically fired. You're gonna need a completely different explanation if you were let go specifically. If you were let go, okay, so now, Ian, I don't know what the question is, and I don't know if you were let go, why you were let go. So folks, wait, I'm glad you asked this question, because Ian, this is great. So clarify, when you are part of a layoff, you scream it from a bullhorn that you are part of a layoff. What that does is it neutralizes the fact that you didn't do anything wrong, right? So number one, hey, I understand this is a business decision. My company decided to outsource my unit to somebody else, or my company decided they were no longer interested, or my company divested this and that, whatever. You had no control over that. You were just let go, big deal. Versus, I barfed on my boss's shoes and they were his new shoes and he really got mad at me and he kicked me out. Well, you got some splaining to do. Okay, so because if I say, why did you leave? You're going to need to explain. So when you explain, and I don't know what the reason is, and the explanation is going to vary depending on exactly why you got let go, right? Some people say, well, I didn't make it past my trial period. Some people say, I did something underhand. Every explanation is going to be different. So just to understand the differences there. All right, let's see. That's a great question, though. MD, again, my boot camper, how does the content of thank you emails to an external recruiter and an HR pre-screen interviewer different from the regular thing? Well, first off, the executive recruiter, just thank them. I'm interested. I look forward to working with you kind of thing. The internal recruiter should be the thank you email like I give you in the book, on that book, page 83. And you always, I never use the words never and always unless I mean never and always. Always copy the executive recruiter on thank you emails to any people at the corporation that executive recruiter has presented you to. So if you send a thank you to that recruiter, you copy your external recruiter. Your third-party recruiter needs to be informed, wants to see what you're saying. They're dropping that in their system, kind of thing. Good stuff there. All right, wait, what do we got here? And then is it J Fee? Hi, I'm interviewing for an internship and the pay for the internship seems low. Should I still try to negotiate even though they said that's their budget? Okay, I would not always, often, tell you to negotiate your salary, right? Like, and when I say often, like 99% of the time. Internships, a little different. Are we talking about a finite 3 months? Are we talking about 5 months? If you're trying to negotiate X thousands on a salary across a short period of time, you need to question whether that's even worth it. What's the value of the internship? Is it an ability to get into that great company, work there and impress them? Believe me, companies that offer you internships, they want to hire you. Why? They just spent how many months training you, right? Kind of thing. Now, when you say it seems low, look, I would take an internship that paid this much versus bartending, valet parking cars, or whatever, that where I could hustle and make this many tips because over the midterm, I'm gonna smoke this, right? Kind of thing. So it comes down to, you know, what the value is in the internship. Could you negotiate? Sure, go ahead. But I wouldn't make a big deal out of it, especially if it's a short internship. And by the way, and remember this is different than full-time employees. If I got a budget and it says, I'm gonna pay you $5,000 a month and you don't wanna take that, I'm just gonna go on to the next person in line. I really will, because it's not hard to find interns. It's hard to find full-time employees. So, by the way, I'm gonna talk to you guys next week about inflation, what it's gonna do to the unemployment rate, why the ratio of publicized open jobs, the 11 million plus in the US, in relation to the publicized unemployed 6 million, the 2-for-1 ratio, and what that means, and why, right, our Fed's gonna purposely lift unemployment, and what that's gonna mean to the sectors, and what you should do about it. Like, that's the kind of stuff that you need to know. That's the kind of stuff I'd be thinking about at a macro level. But when I get down to, hey, I got an opportunity to put a great internship on my resume, I'm all over that. Get that thing at all costs. Okay, what do we got here? What should I expect in the pre-offer meeting with a potential employer? Applied for manager post, but I was able to justify I was worth the director level. Awesome. How should I handle comp titles or whatever? I don't know if you're in my boot camp. If you're in my boot camp, I show you exactly what to do, what to prep, how to sit down in an advanced negotiation tactics session. The public 30-second version of that is you need to prepare a grid that talks about your roles, the goals, what you're gonna do, the value it's gonna contribute, and all that good stuff. And you need to confirm that in this discussion. So there's a delta here between the role that they initially wanted to hire you for and the new role. That has to be packaged. It isn't about the level. It's about the responsibility. I don't care what you call me. I have managers that make 10 times what senior vice presidents can make at certain companies. It isn't about that. If they're raising your level because they think you have the goods and experience, they're also giving you more responsibilities that come with that. When you argue about what they're going to pay you, that has everything to do with the value you're going to contribute. You need to make the case. So, what should you expect? I would go in armed. I would have my sheet. I would have the grid. I would have all the points. I would say, I want to confirm all this. This is what you want. This is what you expect. This is the timeline. This is the commitment, and so on. And I'm saying that to you because from what you put there, obviously these are pretty senior roles. So good luck. And if you don't have that and you're like all salivating now because you want to be in the boot camp, email Kara and she'll tell you how to do that. June Lee, I was offered a job offer. Awesome. I tried to negotiate based on less job security and benefits. At least expected they would try to meet me halfway, but immediately rescinded the offer. Is this normal? Okay, two things here. Is it normal? No. It is. For any of you that have had offers rescinded, I want you to know in the overall scheme of offers extended versus offers rescinded, it's this many offers get rescinded. I can't put my fingers close enough. It happens, yes, but from a sheer percentage, you're talking about less than 1%. Less than 1% of all offers ever extended would ever get rescinded. That's first, so no, it's not probable. Now, you're making an argument based on less job security. That's not a good argument to be making. Okay, so that's a separate point. That argument is irrelevant, generally speaking. If I'm in love with you and I've made a good offer and you're trying to explain to me that you're taking on risk, I would say, I take on risk by hiring you and you could crap out. I believe and I have faith in my ability to evaluate you, but there's a possibility that that could happen, just like you having less job security is a possibility, right? I mean, that's going to be a wash. If you say to me, well, I'm leaving a lot of money on the table that I wouldn't otherwise need to leave. Okay, now while that is irrelevant to me, I do appreciate that because that goes to your mindset. And now I know we're a team and I want to make this work. So I'm going to factor that in, that you're leaving money on the table or you're doing this or that, or you're not collecting a bonus or you're not collecting your commissions or whatever, because we're a team and I need to factor in your feelings at that point. So the rescinding of the offer thing, though, that's hard to tell. Okay, wait. All right, you guys, I love that you guys let me go out. Oh, wait, here we go. I have so many lights behind me. Hang on, I'm always backward. I love that you let me get these mugs, and there's a little Andyism thing on the back with the Mile Walk Academy and everything. Okay, Apollo, Team Apollo, tomorrow. Leaders, if you want to get in Team Apollo, you got till 1 o'clock tomorrow to do that, to attend the session. Productivity Monday. It's awesome. It's awesome. I am going to tell you the project mindset that gets stuff done. I just watched it again this morning for like the 3rd time in the last month. I love this session. Prediction session, I'm going to try to do that next Thursday. My boot campers, I'm with you April 7th. Podcasts, check them out. If you like listening while you're driving or whatever, I'm everywhere. Okay, speaking of, you guys have a great weekend. I'll see my team of followers tomorrow. Love you all. Hope the session helped. All right, see ya.